Lara Croft. Their glorious return.
Not of that ass, though. I just think they're trying to make this game more difficult to play. But this isn't just any version of Lara Croft. This is the Netflix animated version of Lara Croft, where we say goodbye, cartoon femininity. Hello, sweat stains.
Where are they? Oh, God. Oh, God.
This is the most femme, the most innest reinvention of Tomb Raider ever. And we achieved this mighty feat of femme empowerment. Empowerment by turning Lara Croft into a man. I mean, seriously, when I'm the perfect person to cosplay as Lara Croft, sweat stains and all, maybe you should be questioning who made this thing. Because don't get me wrong, this is a Guardian article. This isn't, oh, look how they've destroyed my girl. No, this is, we've ruined the character and brought in sweat stains. And that's a good thing. An argument which a surprisingly large amount of articles agree with. Yes, the sad, bitter, and lonely are out in force when it comes to this animation.
Sometimes I swear you have a death wish.
Now, from a review perspective, this hasn't done very well. Not just from the scores, but also the amount of reviews. Nobody cares that this exists. They would have cared if it was actually Lara Croft, but not with whatever this is. When you've only got 100 customer ratings and 18 critics reviews, most people can't invest in something which is so obviously ass just by looking at the main character. And it was reviewed similarly poorly on Metacritic, getting a 3.7 from the audience, with reviews like, this is the most boring TV show I have ever watched. Every episode, Lara is always crying or needs a hug.
Ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't.
Jesus Christ.
This animation was so bad, even IGN gave it a 5.
I'm not strong enough.
Lara, it's okay to be sad.
And they gave Willow a 9, The Marvels an 8, Witcher Blood Origin a 7, and Secret Invasion a 6. Who you can really tell just how horrifically awful this show is. And I think we know why. When you look at who wrote this thing, it is Tasha Huo, developed by showrunner and IMDb page, known for Lara Croft and Witcher Blood Origins. Yes, The Witcher got bad, but it never got as bad as Blood Origins did. That was horrifically awful, and yet still 2 points better than this. And their writing credits are basically just that. How anyone could watch Witcher Blood Origins and thought, yeah, I'm definitely going to give you a Lara Croft series, bewilders me. Then again, after Indiana Jones, why Amazon would give theirs to Phoebe Waller-Bridge, I have no idea either. That's probably the only saving grace of the animated series. It's not going to be as bad as Phoebe Waller-Bridge's version, although her will probably still have the sweat stains.
Where are they? Oh, God.
And probably still have Lara Croft as a man. But the animation does go to show the impact which trailers have. Where animation, just like games, you can tell the quality of something before you've even watched it. Because you're creating the designs of the characters yourself, they say everything about your intention. You could have made anything. Instead, you made this.
I didn't leave because of you. I didn't want you to leave. Why did you want to leave? You never even said goodbye. You wanted me to leave. So you didn't leave because you thought I was replacing you.
That's why when you got so many good options of how the character could have looked, you could have just made it look like Angelina Jolie. Don't think anyone would have complained there. We even have people doing animated versions with Angelina Jolie's face. Or of course the more traditional and updated versions. The problem with all of these versions is, rather obviously, they're actually attractive, and we can't have that. Now if you have Lara Croft looking like an actual woman, then you will give insecure bints mental issues. No, seriously. From CBR, Animation gave the animators the freedom to design Lara however they wanted, and they did her immense justice. Lara's design was incredibly idealized and unrealistic, literally showing a human person. It's not the rest of the world's problem, Katie. I know we can't all be Angelina Jolie, but the rest of us would prefer to look at her for our entertainment. For better or worse. Better, obviously. She was designed to appeal to the male gaze, not to be an accurate reflection of actual women. Well, I mean, we can reflect one if you want. Just saying. Everyone knows the classic Lara look where she was designed to look like a woman, but Netflix's design is more closely aligned to that of being a man. That said, Lara also expresses her femininity in dresses and shorts. Ah yes, that world-renowned feminine item of clothing. Shorts. Adding a layer of depth to the character. I do love that this critic is so shallow, they think that clothing is depth. Netflix's Lara strikes the perfect balance between her classic and modern looks by making her a man, which is fitting as it's a bridge between Lara's past and her present.
Say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't.
Jesus Christ.
What if she's presently awful, though? What if that's the problem? What if the present is crap and the old thing is better, and you're like, well, you know, we'll compromise and just have her called Dave? It's like, nah. Don't think we will, thanks. Don't think we'll just ignore you and your insufferable beliefs. How many things must fail before you learn your lesson, old man? True evil's never been tried. Finally, Lara Croft no longer looks like a strong wind would knock her over. Sorry, do I need to keep reminding you what a human being looks like? I understand that maybe in your offices you're used to a more sort of spherical form of being, but that doesn't change the fact that Angelina Jolie is legitimately what a normal person should look like when they eat properly. The strangest part of modernity is trying to take the normal and make it seem fringe, and the radical and make it seem everyday, to the point where people have literally forgotten what human beings look like, and that's how you end up, well, now she's made with no thought to the male gaze. Yeah, they love that term. We have absolutely no thought to what the audience wants. That's a good thing. And look, I'm not saying that this person isn't a Tomb Raider fan. I am saying when they start their article with hot on the heels of the Oasis reunion, Hayley probably wasn't a big gamer in the 90s. This isn't the Tomb Raider star as you might remember her. She looks different. Her thighs are now strong enough to realistically run. You see what I mean about people don't even understand what a normal human being looks like? These are people that look at the Olympics and go, where are their organs? These are the people where Super Size Me was a biography. I can't imagine what someone looks like where their thighs are thick enough to be able to run. No, I can't imagine it all. While her waist is more realistically proportioned. For them, the most horrifically awful thing they can imagine is an hourglass. It always reminds me of what I'll never be. Oh no, how dare you be unrealistically proportioned? Where are her organs? Where are their organs? That's the question that we need to be asking. His shoulders are broader, his arms more defined, because he's a man. And those impossibly perky and oh so pixelated feminine icons have been deflated to a size that somewhat fits somewhere within the realm of reason. Again, just because you're jealous, sour, and bitter, just because you look at people who are superior to you and fill yourself with pure envy and spite, doesn't mean they're unreasonable when the pissing voice actress for Lara Croft herself is the same size that you're whining about. Breasts.
You really like bosoms in this country, don't you?
It's just not reasonable, they're perky. That's not within the realms of reason, because I don't have them myself.
Poor old Alice, she's hardly got any at all. Better not mention that, she's very sensitive about it.
And therefore a man should have made the show, because he would have actually made it properly. But if you're going to make Lara a man in the first place, you should have had a showrunner that can accurately represent him. That's all these reviews that like the changes, by the way. Oh, but I didn't like the original because I'm sour, bitter, and it made me feel horrible because I can't compete with the pixelated imaginary woman. Essentially, she no longer looks like a strong wind would knock her over. If she isn't 25 stone, she's gonna fly right off into the wind. I think everyone looks at Angelina Jolie and goes, what you need to eat is some pies. You know, make yourself kidnap proof. It's part of a reimagining that feels like a very big femme, a very big-ist act. Something many critics have been clamoring for ever since her first outing in 1996. I bet they were. There was massive amounts of clunge that got really annoyed. There was a product somewhere that wasn't made for them. Please, sir, can you make her an ugly bint like me? The two views of the world, hierarchy and equality. If you believe in hierarchy, then seeing that inspires you. You could see somebody which actually has a good figure, whether they're a model or dancers. I think, well, they clearly worked on their body and didn't eat that 10th pie, so I can get like that if I work for it. Hierarchy allows you to be better than where you are, as opposed to equality, where, what are you doing? Why are you better than me? You're not supposed to be better than me. That makes me feel bad. You should be down here. If everybody's the same, then you shouldn't have to work to better yourself. What are they doing above you in the first place, those cretins? They need to be dragged down to where they're supposed to be, on the bottom rung of the ladder, where you are.
And what I see all over the place is people who care about looking good while doing evil.
That's the founding principle of this. We've been clamoring to ruin her since 1996, and we've finally done it. All it took was some absolutely talentless hack, where the only thing they've made is The Witcher Blood Origin and Women in the Dirt, Landscape Architects Shaping Our World in 2011, something which includes this gem.
Their designs give inspiration to people from all walks of life.
Ah, yes. It's really inspiring, that is, isn't it? You've made some concrete steps. And then you too can ruin another property, which had nothing to do with you and wasn't even for you in the first place. You can go and watch Bridgerton if you want to be sad, bitter, and alone somewhere else. The most influential female protagonist of the genre. Not even sure that's true, to be honest. Lara redefined what women can and can't do in the world. No, it was never defined in the first place. I don't know what world you're living in. This gave her a real difference to the female game characters who are basically just objects. Now, of course, we all know that the real reason behind Lara Croft looking how it was is because it's what men wanted, which is also the same reason why it's not that anymore. There's a very strange circular loop of logic where if you hate men, you hate what they like, but they like you, so you destroy yourself because you hate men. Many such cases and examples. Realism, of course, is in the eye of the... No, it isn't. Reality is an objective measurement. It's a thing that exists. If you disagree with it, you're wrong. No, I'm just speaking my truth. For her adrenaline exploits, she wore tight tank and teeny shorts. Ah, yes. The good old days. All to better accentuate those gravity-defying femininities.
You really like bosoms in this country, don't you?
Look, this is something you have brought up multiple times in this article. I can only assume that when you go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, you start playing swing football. We'll have a rotund physique because if you went jogging in the morning, you'd have to strap them down or give yourself 2 black eyes, possibly strangle yourself. There's a lot of struggles. She moved with the grace of a ballerina, whereas now we've given her a very, forward center of gravity, opting for unnecessary handstands and swallow dives whenever she could. It wasn't about her assets getting bigger, although this was undeniable, her ever-expanding assets aside. This is a very, very personal sore point for you, isn't it?
Oh, Alice, she's hardly got any at all. Better not mention that. She's very sensitive about it.
The entire article just keeps bringing them up. Consider the unforgettable shower scene of Tomb Raider 2, the ripped little black dress, the ever-prevailing promise of the nude raider. If you want a serious ideology, you can't have it be so farcical. You can't make it this funny. Evil shouldn't be this funny. Like Wonder Woman before her, Lara Croft was a strong woman, created with a male gaze. Okay, so what's your problem then? If she is strong, what the real problem is, it was created for a man, and you're like, no, everything's gotta be for me, and I've got to destroy everything for that. Piss off. You have no power here. Sure, you can try and not appeal to the audience of Lara Croft, but you will lose all of your money, and I will continue laughing. Either way, I consider it a win. I've reached a point where I'm not sure I even want good entertainment out of the West anymore. That way, I can continue laughing as you hate yourself and burn money. And I can watch foreign entertainment, which isn't infested by people like you. It's actually amazing. I know one of the great things about Korean entertainment. They look like Koreans. Oh, no. We need people that look like humans. Okay. Could we pick which humans they look like, though? That's all I'm asking. You want to know what this bump in players was for the first Descendant? From 16,000 peak up to a 35,000 peak. They released a new character skin. Do you want to know what the character was before that? I mean, I can't imagine why people play the game. They're so unrealistic. Where are her organs? Do you want to know how to be profitable in entertainment? Ask The Guardian, then do the opposite. That way you'll have the opinion of normal human beings. As time went on, designers focused more on her facial expressions than her assets. That's because they'd perfected them. Her backstory was fleshed out. They even gave her friends. Nobody cares. That's not why they were there. This Lara isn't perfect, but her imperfections feel revolution. She's just like me when she's insufferable and broken and crying.
So you didn't leave because you thought I was replacing you? I'm not strong enough.
Lara, it's okay to be sad. Your woman is out of control.
Is this real?
This is the Lara that takes antidepressants, and it speaks to me. She's the undisputed custodian of her own complicated life at long last, thanks to an all-new TV incarnation. And we find out more about what exactly that new incarnation is. More knowledge of Tomb Raider isn't required, because this series basically just makes everything up and changes it. The Netflix series is a foundation for Lara's trauma, because that's always fun, isn't it? Trauma. It's what you want in entertainment. Trauma and crying.
Say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
Just emotions and feelings, and the constant nagging thought in your head that you really just wish this character would grow up for once. I just want to be emotional like a child. Please, sir, can I continue to cry and not do anything with my life? Oh, piss off. But they start talking about how death is actually used to motivate a character, which is a very good trope, because the death of a loved one does motivate you. To get revenge, mainly. This is why if you have a male hero and his wife dies by a villain, it's a really good thing to do in a story. It's a great motivation, and anybody that critiques it should basically just be banned from ever giving any criticism of something. It shows a fundamental lack of any knowledge of what it means to be human, and as such, you can't really critique media like that. This is why fridging is a good thing. It gives the character very masculine motivation, which is the audience you should be appealing to in heroic stories. So the answer may be that Lara always needs somebody's death to enter an emotionally vulnerable position. No, it's a motivating principle. If somebody's died in your past, it can drive you forward to achieve things. It's not about being vulnerable. Again, masculine motivation. This is why some of the more dramatic games and adaptations use the death of her father as their motivation. However, his death has been repurposed many times. Some people even call them daddy issues.
Dad issues.
But I think the more insightful part when it goes, they've avoided this pitfall. Well, it's not a pitfall. By wisely pushing Richard's death to the back in favor of somebody else's. She can't be motivated by the death of her father. That's just her father. Who cares about those people? This needs to be someone actually important in her life, as it gives the chance to examine her friendship with her daughter. Yay.
I didn't leave because of you. I didn't want you to leave. Why did you want to leave? You never even said goodbye. You wanted me to leave.
That's what you want in a Tomb Raider show. Emotional friendships. Do you want to raid a tomb? No, I want to cry for a bit first.
First yoga, then dance lessons.
The Legend of Lara Croft is the best Lara Croft story yet. It cracks the surface of her hardened shell to expose her psyche. It's all about feelings, so you can tell the audience. Are you at home crying into the fur of your cat? Have I got the series for you? Unfortunately, if you're a man and want somebody to actually do something useful, well, you should probably stick to the old Lara Croft. No complaints here. Tomb Raider isn't about a brave woman searching for powerful stones. It's a story about an insecure... That's one thing that Lara Croft is renowned for. Her insecurity. She's fragile and broken just like me, for real, for reals. Lara needs to learn how to ask for help, because it's not like she's renowned for being self-sufficient. Rather than voluntarily falling down a rabbit hole of trauma. If you use the word trauma, once again, maybe you should be stopped from actually talking. You don't have trauma, dear. You were born to a privileged life where you've not had any problems. The only trauma you've had is when they run out of wheatgrass at Starbucks. What do you mean you don't have any avocados today? The animation is where Lara Croft shines most. The fluid animation gives the heroine limitless potential. She looks just like me, for real, for reals. I've never felt so represented. Well, the Angelina Jolie movies are fun gems, is why Lara is at her best when she's animated. Animation gives them to design Lara however they want. She's no longer idealized and unrealistic, not designed to appeal to the audience. Instead, a reflection of an actual land whale. If you've gone through life looking like a man, you too could be Lara Croft. That's the modern look, the forward-facing look. The series makes up for its lack of originality. Whoops. Yeah, we're kind of just admitting that our show is just like all the other crap that Hollywood's putting out nowadays. We're not really pushing any boundaries. You're just pushing against an open door. This oppression won't let me in. The show basically rips off the plot of Avengers Infinity War. In a time when reboots and franchises are entertainment industry's current obsession, the recycling of a well-used character risks making them dull. Not when they look like that, it doesn't, just so you're aware. Instead, making them look like that does. Oh, sorry, no, that one's not Lara Croft. It's very difficult to tell the difference between all the men in this show. Luckily, he's got a beard. It's basically the only difference. Look, he's even got the chest sweat stains. It even looks like he's wearing a similar... This is especially true for needless prequels and origin stories, just so we can appeal to some insecure journalists and the creators of the show. Mind you, if you've just been part of Witcher Blood Origins, you'd be insecure as well. And rightly so. Being tied to that, it's amazing you've got another job in entertainment, to be honest. The Legend of Lara Croft zeroes in on an untapped sector of Lara's life. Yes, she's broken, insecure, and insufferable. She isn't the brave, bold anti-heroine of the 90s games. You know, the one people liked. She's still broken and insecure and ugly, which I can identify with. She's still working to overcome her demons. I remember when I had to ask for the seat extender on an aeroplane. Lara's just like me, for real, for reals. One can only hope that the season finale's cliffhanger will spawn a second season to continue breathing new life into his world. I hope it does. I want you to burn all of the money. No, this is a show which is ashamed of itself. It's even ashamed of its own voice actor. They couldn't even reflect the body proportions of the person they cast themselves. No, instead they were very much concerned about where everyone's organs were. And as we're going for a new audience, you know, one that watches Bridgerton rather than Tomb Raider, we didn't want to make them insecure. So instead, we had to make somebody who was unthreatening, cater to the lowest common denominator, because God forbid we give the audience something to look at. And that goes through into the story. When we say we don't design the character to look how the men want, you're also going to do the same with the story. You're going to do the same with the themes, the morality. Everything is going to be different, because it's not going to cater to the blokes who are the audience of Tomb Raider, and whose morality is basically the foundation of the hero's journey. And while you can say that Lara isn't a hero, if you're going to be trying to stop the apocalypse, it's a more fulfilling and satisfying story if they still follow that journey, which is based in masculine values. So you can't get away with it, and if you try, you destroy the very show that you're making. And the main problem is we've already got shows about Lara Croft. We've already got the bar to go, well, you can't even meet this, what's the point? And so everybody looked at the animation, and nobody cared, even the critics. Because if you can't even make something as good as the real-life Lara Croft herself, why would I even watch your show to see if you could make up for it elsewhere? You already proved that your artists are awful. Why would I waste my time to check if you could be bothered to hire better writers than your artists? And then again, I already know the answer to that too, don't I? This is the writer of Witcher Blood Origins, whose sole qualification is about landscape architecture. Of course, from the most innest of lenses, because that is the foundational worldview that got you here in the first place. And why would you change when you're dealing with a property made for blokes? If you hate the audience, you will inevitably destroy what they like. And you'll think you're right for doing so, but they don't have to give you any money for it, or give you a career. But those are just my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know down in the comments below. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe. More videos like this in the future, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.